You are great, yes, you are Holy One. Walked upon the sea, raised the dead. Reign in majesty, mighty God. Everything written about you is great. You are great, yes, you are Holy One. Walked upon the sea, raised the dead. You reign in majesty, mighty God. Everything written about you is great. You are great.
You are great.
You are great.
You are great.
You are great.
You are great.
Oh yeah.
You are great.
Say you are great.
You are great.
Say you are great.
You are great.
Everything, yeah.
Everything written about you is great.
You are great.
You are great.
You are great.
You are great.
Oh, you are great. You are.
You are great.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
are great.
Say you are great. You are.
You are great.
Worship you today.
You are great.
Hey, everything.
Everything written about you is great.
Worship you today. Give him all the praise. Yeah. Mighty, mighty God.
Good evening. You know, P.S. Oh, I should probably have started by introducing myself. Those people who are sitting at the back making noise, you know yourselves, move to the front. Isn't that what every teacher would tell us? Good evening, my name is Renee Gamau, and I have the incredible pleasure of being your hostess / MC for the evening. For those of you who haven't met me but have heard the voice, yes, I was on radio until a few months ago. If I did say anything against your organization, it was a different Renee, it wasn't me. Just so we're clear. But if I said lovely things, it was definitely me. This evening is all about celebration, celebrating what Wonder Woman's dream can show up as. Isn't it just?
Yes.
A round of applause for Mrs. Radhika Lee and the amazing work you've done. What? We shall revisit. But there's nothing, no blessing, no growth, no development that does not happen unless God says so. So without further ado, and before even beginning anything else, I'd like to invite one of the teachers from the school who's been here for 10 years. This is how we find out whether the teachers do what they tell the students to do. Volunteer and come to the front, come find me. One of the teachers who's been here, before I call your name by the way, and I know your name, to come and lead us in the school prayer. Before now, please say your name.
My name is Miss Dorita Abura, Mrs. Dorita Abura.
Clap for Mrs. Dorita Abura. I'm gonna love this, but I'm gonna love this all the time. Miss Dorita, please lead us in the school.
Okay, let's pray. Oh God, we thank you for all your blessings. We thank you for our school, our teachers, and our parents. We pray that you guide us through each and everything we strive to achieve while we're here, and that we bear testimony to your strength and our relentless faith in you. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much. No, but surely clap for them. Like I said, because this evening is really about celebration, there will be a lot of clapping. Be warned, be free, or at least stomp your feet, because I know that you're holding glasses and things and enjoying the cocktails. So if you can't clap, just bite. A woman whose story I never knew. Until one day when I was on radio, a young former student of hers called Donna Ochako, and I don't know if Donna you're here, called me and said, you have to interview her. You must interview her. Now just to tell you, we get a lot of those you have to interview. So after a while you become a little bit cynical. But then he said, you know what, I'm going to send you her book. And once I send you her book and you read it, you will have to interview her. I don't know how many of you have read Rainbows in the Clouds, Rainbows in My Clouds. Have you not? You have? Isn't that just like spine chilling? Isn't it just? And so the humility, the gratitude, the respect, the honor that we have for you, Mrs. Radhika Lee, comes not just from being the educator of our children. It comes from having the strength to tell the story that so many of us could never tell because we haven't found the words with which to step over our pain, be free enough, and tell it. By your telling your story, you've given others who don't have the words yet to find a way to find life. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mrs. Radhika.
Good evening, everyone. I don't want to say parents. I said everyone because there are a number of parents here, but there are also a number of my students here. Kids I taught who are now parents at the school, so it's kind of difficult for me to address you as just parents because you're kids too. But good evening, everyone. And good evening, we have somebody very special here tonight. John. I just want us to give him a big round of applause to welcome him. I told John, you're going to come to Kenya. But I never ever imagined that he's going to join us on our 10th anniversary. Our 10th anniversary of NIS, a school that truly was inspired in many ways because of this gentleman. So, thank you so much for joining us. I truly have no words. And all of you who are here tonight, I know you're very busy people, and all it took is just an invite, on WhatsApp or email, and you showed up. So thank you so much. I truly don't have words. I just feel grateful to each and every one of you for being here, for the faith, for the leap of faith you took 10 years ago, some of you, by bringing your children to me when there was literally no school. We started day one with what? Day one, we just had this block, 6 rooms. How many of you knew me then? Thank you. That is what I call leap of faith. Because truly, without your trust in me and the school, we wouldn't have grown. And a journey that started with 35 children, today we are over 600 kids. And what can I say but thank you. And I'm so very pleased that you're here tonight to celebrate the school and the staff and the children with me. So thank you very much. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. It was just a word of mouth that she told us she's going to open her own school, and I just brought my kids here. 2 of them studied in the same school. Thank you so much.
Fatma Hersi? Fatma, you're one of the other crazy parents.
I knew Mrs. Lee before because she was the principal of Jaffe's Academy and my kids were there. So when she started NIS, the other 2 older sisters had left, but my son was the one that came here. And he graduated in June from university. He's here. So I said he must come on. Moody. Moody. When she invited me, I said, my son is here now. Let him come and also say hi and remember his school.
I think you must.
Thank you. I'm not usually used to big crowds like this. But I was one of the first students to come. Miss Lee actually just talked to my mom, and like that, we were here. And I'm actually grateful. It was one of my best few years in high school. And as Miss Lee knows, I was a bit cheeky, but she helped us learn, and all the teachers and faculty that were here, Mr. Maina, Mr. Beta, Mr. Rita, Mr. Kamau, all of them helped me grow, and I'm really thankful for that. It was a great experience, and I'd just like to thank Ms. Lee again for letting me have that chance. Thank you.
He didn't turn out too shabby. Well done. I think it was a choice well made.
But behind every story of a start, there's a story of the seed of an idea that has been planted by somebody in the most unusual way and in the most unusual place. This, as you probably noticed, is not going to be our normal kind of cocktails, you know, the one where we have like lots of boring speeches and your heels hurt and you're wondering when the food is going to come out. Yeah, don't worry, I've been enough of those. But what I really wanted to do was do something different. So I want to ask Mrs. Lee and John Capsh if you could come to where I am for a few minutes. Because having missed the interview, John, having missed the chance to interview you on my radio show, you weren't going to think that you were going to get away with it just like that. Now, Mrs. Lee, you said that there was something that inspired you, and that when you heard about it, you could not have a school. Here's the proverbial question that we ask all newlyweds, and I'm going to ask them. How did you guys meet?
Good one, Renee. Well, do you remember it? It was actually at an Apple Educators Conference in Vienna. The first time I met Tom, yeah. That was in 2006, I think. Yeah.
And John, what struck you about Mrs. Lee?
Oh, this is fun.
Well, I call her radical. Radical Lee, okay?
Radical Lee.
And I recognize that immediately, because she challenged everyone. And she shared the dream that I have. And that I believe that every child is uniquely gifted by God. And they all have a little bit of genius in themselves. And we need to change our education system to recognize that. And not treat all kids the same. Ask them to memorize and then repeat and take tests, because tests only show the strength of your short-term memory. They don't show the full potential. So we talk a lot about the children and learning. There's an old saying that education is what people do to you. Learning is what you do for yourselves. And so we just hit it off really well. And she came to a number of our we had international school conferences every year. And she was at a number of them. And the last one that I remember was in Geneva. And, you know, Geneva had schools that cost as much as $200,000 a year to go. And so you had a lot of white men, very rich, saying they couldn't do it. And so I usually open the conference and close the conference. But this time I said, there's nobody better to close the conference than Radical. And I had her tell her story, that if an Indian woman in Africa can build a school for children, that I guilted all those white men in Geneva. And the Lord has kept our path crossing. She had called me when her book was finished and it was going to be launched in London at the Kenyan Embassy. And she said, can you send someone from Apple to be there? And I looked at my schedule, and I was in Thailand the day before. So I said, well, rather than flying back to San Francisco, I'll fly to London. Little did I know it was just as far. And I flew around the world to be there for her book launching, which is an incredible book.
That it is. That it is. But you know, you too have written a book. And I've got to ask this, is anyone else struggling with electronics in the house? And whether you should go native and just grab a hammer and like just hammer like that, let's go to 3D. Yeah, I feel you too. Yeah. And I've got to ask you this because it's not often that we have the first ever vice president of Apple for education. How do we use technology to ensure that our children are building themselves and their skills for a future that we cannot even imagine? And not watching, which I shall not mention, sorry, I had a bit of a cough there, and playing all day long. You know those songs, huh? those games. Huh? How do we do that and ensure that we grow them?
Yeah, it's a great question. And see, the problem today, I think, in schools around the world is that technology is not being used to redefine the classroom. It's being used as a substitute. So we're doing the same thing in the classroom with the technology that we could do without the technology. Steve's dream was that technology would amplify our intellectual and creative ability. That we could build we build tools that can stretch ourselves. And so he saw technology as a mental bicycle. In the same way a bicycle can amplify our physical ability, he saw it amplifying our creative ability. And it's kind of interesting because 130 years ago, the individual that created kindergarten, which stands for Children in the Garden, in Germany in 1846, saw kindergarten not about literacy, but about creativity, about being in the nature and then coming in from nature and building things abstractly that they experienced in nature, and then created a set of tools called the Freudian gifts, which are a set of blocks that Frank Lloyd Wright adapted and are still used at MIT's graduate school of architecture. And so here, 130 years apart, we have two men with a common vision that we can build tools that amplify our creativity. And so that, I think, is the real challenge, is technology being used to challenge your creativity? And it needs to inspire. And there's nothing inspiring about using technology to do the same thing that we could do without the technology.
Oh, wow. So I'm going to take like a lot of that, and then I will, especially the one about mental bicycle, I will attribute it, is it your quote or Steve Jobs' quote?
Steve's vision.
It's
Yeah.
Steve's vision?
Yeah.
Then I can't really take it and pretend it was mine, huh? Nah, I can't do that. Sorry.
Let me introduce my son, Chris. Chris was 4 years old when I met Steve, and Steve was offering me a job at Apple Computer as the 54th employee, but he was asking me to take a very large pay cut. He was asking me to go from managing 100 people to managing no one and work for a 21-year-old kid. Okay? So I told him I wasn't quite sure about it. I shared his vision, but that's a pretty dramatic change in your life. So on a Friday night, Steve came into the house and put an Apple II on the kitchen table when he was 4 years old and said, "Chris, you can have this if your dad comes to work for me." And he is really,
Bribery works, folks. Bribery works.
and on Sunday night I said, "Chris, don't get too attached to this because I may have to return it." And he said, "Well, why, Dad?" And I said, "Well, if I don't take the job, I need to bring it back tomorrow." And he looked at me and he said, "Well, just yes, Dad."
Oh, bless.
And he has ridden that mental bicycle to Ivy League schools, to his own company, has his own design company. And so I know that technology used correctly works, and he's living proof.
Wow. A round of applause. How amazing is that? So now you know, don't guilt yourself when your kids make you do something, like buy ice cream in my case, huh? But never mind. Kids will make you do stuff and go down roads that you have never thought you ever would. John, I'm going to let you sit down, Chris. Thank you ever so much. And Radhika, I want you to stay, because it's one thing to hear a great idea. And it's another thing to feel in the pit of your stomach that you should do something. But let's face it, many of us have felt that, isn't it? And we didn't do anything about it. I'd love for you to speak to us about 10 years of a dream and a conversation turning into reality. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot applaud this woman in vain.
Actually, you guys just read my book, because I've written every little thing in there. Honestly, that would be the best way to know how I started the school. And started the school as the first e-school, because there was so much, people just didn't understand. And I'm sure some of you parents remember the Saturday classes we used to have for parents to, teach them the basics of using technology, and it wasn't easy. At that time, my first conference, I was still working elsewhere, and I did a report after the conference. I was so excited, and I really wanted that school to go the E-way, because I was heading the school, and I really pushed with the board, who just, I think, they just threw my report somewhere, under the drawer somewhere. I don't know, because they never got back to me to say anything, but I just couldn't. And Renee is right. And if Tahira, unfortunately tonight she's not here, she's my PA, she would tell you how, it was so hard for me to settle after that conference, because the only thing I dreamt about was having a school that's different. But there are other people here who would actually vouch for that. And that is Brian. Brian, where are you? And Jonah and Ash. They sat and listened to me talk about this e-school. And actually, the kids really encouraged me. And I thought, come what may, we're going to do this. And I truly didn't have any money, so I had to borrow from Grofin. Is there anybody from Grofin here? The only company that believed in my dream, that was Grofin. And they came through. And, but we paid back in less time than what they had given me. Thank God for that. And then we just didn't have to look back. So it's your support. That's why you're here. But it is true, once that seed was planted, it wasn't going away. Yeah. God's grace. Thank you.
Before you sit down, I think it's only right that you should introduce John.
Oh, that's a tough one. We already said everything that can be said about John. He's not just a believer in technology and using technology for education, but I also think he's one of the most humble people I've ever come across. That is the truth. And I think that's the reason why we're all here. And even today at lunch, that's what we were saying. The fact that God has brought you here, I think there was a reason why we met all that while ago. Your humility and the care and your passion for children and education. I think that is why we are here today, because that is what touched me then. And I knew I could do it if I put my mind to it. So, thank you, John.
I want to share some things because my life has been guided by God. I lost my father when I was 5 years old. He was 27. I lost my sister when I was 9. She was 7. I lost another sister when I was 11. And another sister and a brother. And I have a mom who's 92 years old who is a saint. And so, Steve Jobs spoke at the Stanford commencement, gave a Stanford commencement speech. And he talked about connecting dots. And he says you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect dots looking forwards. And so today, my 71st birthday, I've had a chance to look at the dots in my past, and you can see God's hand on my life. I made a decision in 1968 to transfer to UC Berkeley when it was the only school in the United States that offered a computer science degree. So I have one of the first 50 computer science degrees at a time when most people didn't know what computer science was. And so that guided me through 5 years at Hewlett-Packard, where we built computers that cost $250,000. And I met Steve Jobs, and he had built a computer that cost $2,500. And so I could see the future, that was going to change all of our lives. Today, it's right here, 250 gigs. It's my birthday, everybody's calling. But I think I went to Apple as a 54th employee, and obviously that changed my life and my family's life with Apple going public, and today Apple being the first $1 trillion company. So, how many blessings is that to be part of something like that? And but I retired at the age of 36, and I was searching for the Lord's, will. Lord, what is your will for my life? And He led me to a failed Christian school, and challenged me to get involved in that school, and I did. And the school today is a blue ribbon school, lower middle and upper school. But he also told me one other thing. He said, I don't want you just to build a school for wealthy Christians. I want you to build a school for all my children. And for the last 30 years, and on my part, and so I'm starting a nonprofit called Beyond School. And we have a curriculum, challenge-based curriculum, not this memorization stuff, but really challenges, relevant, a pedagogy, if you will, a classroom that's relevant, that's creative, because I believe students are created in the image of God, and they're creators, so they should be doing the creation, not just consumption of content. They should work collaboratively, because research shows that we learn from each other, and they should be challenged. And so, with God's help, we're going to launch this online around the world. We'll start in Ghana with some schools that I have in Ghana. We'll start in Haiti, because I'm very involved with an operation called Operation Underground Railroad, which is a true story of a fellow by the name of Tim Ballard, who worked for the CIA, who today, with Navy SEALs and ex-military, goes into Colombia and places like this and saves kids that are in child trafficking. And we just finished a movie called Sound of Freedom, and I've written the music for that, and hopefully next fall that will be launched, and it'll be Tim Ballard's story, because we need to raise the consciousness of how many of our children. We're very blessed for people like Radical to start schools, but there's over 2 million of our children that are in bondage and slavery. And so my life is committed to the children and to honoring that small voice in your soul that says, you're to build a school for all of my children. So that's how I hope to spend the rest of the days that I have on this planet. Thank you.
Now you know why I said what I said.
I'm fine.
Make sure you don't go to the gym.
To a soul who refused to be defined by her circumstances, to the next closest thing you can have to the perfect headmistress according to my 8-year-old, and to a woman who makes me wonder what I did between 9 and 5 while she was building a school and changing lives. Ladies and gentlemen, raise your glasses and toast to the health, well-being, and joy. But don't drink it just yet, because behind every great woman, apparently, there is a great man. John Couch.
Thank you all.
And so we did a little bit of research. I know, wrote a book, ran a company that's on $1 billion, rescues children, is a generally great guy, has time to write songs. Hold on, did I say songs? In plural? Gracie?
So I will fix my eyes on you, my steady hope, the anchor of my soul. Fill me with your peace, all-consuming peace. Whenever I'm in need, your spirit comforts me. You fill me with your peace, everlasting peace. Whenever I'm in trouble, present comforts me. Grace to grace and strength to strength. With love and mercy all around. Whenever I'm in need, your presence comforts me. Fill me with your peace, your everlasting peace. Whenever I'm in trouble, to quiet water, where strength makes me.
our very own teacher Gracie.
The readings and journaling, and from the journals I pull out the words that spoke to me and composed the song, and then at least the words, and then I work with young artists to share in the lyrics, and then we record them. So there's 25 songs within iTunes under the name Eden Inspirations.
So now you know what to look for on iTunes. And by the way, all of that journaling, yeah, I think you deserve a round of applause. All of that journaling, don't hide it. It could be the inspiration for your next prayer song. I think it's only fair that we grab 2 minutes of her time and then you take the break. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you have not met him, this dashing young man is Radical Lee's son. I can quote that Radical bit.
Over 3,000 Christians. And so I sent
Hello?
and they
Hello? Good evening, everyone. I said, good evening, everyone. Clearly, I'm not drinking enough. Good evening, everyone. To parents who, like you, would like to say a huge thank you for the faith that you put in our institution. To the teachers that took that leap of faith and have molded generations of children. Thank you. To the site staff, to the cooks that make this place impeccable and feed us and grow us every day. Thank you. To John, who inspired us and gave us the framework. Thank you. And finally, to my mother, who annoys me every single day. Yeah, which is apparently the job of a mother, who consistently tells me to share my view, who always thinks all my positions are wrong. Thank you. Thank you for having the courage to follow the dreams, for showing all of us that once your dreams are actually to help other people and grow exponentially. You are
The only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe. Oh, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory.